Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanidhari Gopijana Balaba Girivanidhari Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoyanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswati Vyasa Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Prayashu Abadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Reading from the birth of Emperor Kripanidhi. Canto 1, chapter 12, text number 20. Data Karanyascha Sitahi Oshinar Sivi Yovitanika Swanam Dosyantir Ivaya Yabvam Esha Data Sharanyascha Jai Oshinarati Shobitanika Swanam Dosyantir Uvayatvanam Yeshadatta Sharanyascha
जय श्री श्री अष्ट श्री परिविष्ट
Yatahi Oshinara
जय श्री
Shibihi
श्री पंचतत्व की जय जय सर्वमादा
Yasho Vitanita Shvanam
जय भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की जय
Doshantir Iva Yajvanam
हरि हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य
Eshadatta Sharanyascha
चक्षुरुन्मीतं येन
Yatahi Oshinara Shibi
नमः श्रीचैतन्य
Yasho Vitanita Swanam
स्थापितं येन भूतले
Doshantir Iva Yajvanam
ददाति स पदान्तिकं
Eshadatta Sharanyascha
श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो
Yatahi Oshinara Shibi
श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगना
Vitanita Swanam
सजीवं साद्वैतं
Doshantir Iva Yajvanam
सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगना
Eshadatta Sharanyascha
नमो विष्णुपदाय
Yatahi Oshinara
कृष्णपृष्ठाय
Shibi
भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति
Yasho Vitanita Swanam
नमस्ते सरस्वती
Doshantir Iva Yajvanam
प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश
Anyone else?
हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा
this
कान्त
child,
नमस्तुते
Data,
कांचन गौरांगी
donor in
राधे
charity,
वृंदावनेश्वरी
Sharanya,
सुते देवी
protector of the surrendered,
वृंदावई तुलसी देवी
Cha,
प्रियाई
and
केशवस्य च
Yata,
कृष्ण भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवत्तै नमः
certainly,
नमः
Oshinara,
कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते
the country named
कृष्णाय कृष्ण
Ushinara,
चैतन्य नामने गौरतिशे नमः
Shibi,
जयो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु
Yasha,
नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
Vitanita,
भक्त वृंद
disseminator,
हरे कृष्ण
Swanam,
कृष्ण कृष्ण
of the
हरे
kinsmen,
हरे हरे राम
Doshantihi
राम
Iva,
राम हरे हरे
like Bharata,
ओम
the
नमो
son of
भगवते
Dushyanta,
वासुदेवाय
Yajvanam,
ओम नमो
of those who have
भगवते
performed many
वासुदेवाय
sacrifices.
ओम नमो
Translation and
भगवते
purport by His Divine Grace,
वासुदेवाय
A.C. Swami, Srila Prabhupada.
नारायणं नमस्कृतं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं
This child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous King Shibi of the Ushinara country, and he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta. Please repeat. This child will be a munificent donor of charity and protector of the surrendered, like the famous King Shibi of the Ushinara country, and he will expand the name and fame of his family like Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta. O king, a king becomes famous by his acts of charity, performance of yagya, protection of the surrendered, etc. A Kshatriya king is proud to give protection to the surrendered souls. This attitude of a king is called Ishvara Bhav, or factual power to give protection in a righteous cause. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord instructs living beings to surrender unto Him, and He promises all protection. The Lord is all-powerful and true to his word, and therefore he never fails to give protection to his different devotees. The king, being the representative of the Lord, must possess this attitude of giving protection to the surrendered souls at all risk. Maharaj Shibi, the king of Ushinara, was an intimate friend of Maharaj Yayati, who was able to reach the heavenly planets along with Maharaj Shibi. Maharaj Shibi was aware of the heavenly planet where he was to be transferred after his death, and the description of this heavenly planet is given in the Mahabharat Adi Parva 96.69. Maharaj Shibi was so charitably disposed that he wanted to give over his acquired position in the heavenly kingdom to Yayati, but he did not accept it. Yayati went to the heavenly planet along with the great rishis like Ashtaka and others. On inquiry from the rishis, Yayati gave an account of Shibi's pious acts when all of them were on the path to heaven. He has become a member of the assembly of Yamaraj, who has become his worshipful deity. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, the worshipper of the demigods goes to the planets of the demigods. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. So Maharaj Shibi has become an associate of the great authority Yamaraj on that particular planet. While he was on the earth, he became very famous as a protector of surrendered souls and a donor of charities. The king of heaven once took the shape of a pigeon hunter bird, eagle, and Agni, the fire god, took the shape of a pigeon. The pigeon, while being chased by the eagle, took shelter on the lap of Maharaj Shibi. And the hunter eagle wanted the pigeon back from the king. The king wanted to give it some other meat to eat and requested the bird not to kill the pigeon. The hunter bird refused to accept the king's offer, but it was settled later on that the eagle would accept flesh from the body of the king of the pigeon's equivalent weight. The king began to cut flesh from his body to weigh in the balance equivalent to the weight of the pigeon. But the mystic pigeon always remained heavier. The king then put himself on the balance to equate with the pigeon, and the demigods were pleased with him. The king of heaven and the fire god disclosed their identity, and the king was blessed by them. Devarshi Narada also glorified Maharaj Shibi for his great achievements, specifically in charity and protection. Maharaj Shibi sacrificed his own son for the satisfaction of human beings in his kingdom, and thus Chalprika was to become a second Shibi in charity and protection. Doshyanti Bharat. There are many Bharatas in history, of which Bharat, the brother of Lord Ram, Bharat, the son of King Rishabha, and Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyanta, are very famous. And all these Bharats are historically known to the universe. This earth planet is known as Bharat or Bharatvarsh due to King Bharat, the son of Rishabhadev, due to King Bharat, the son of Rishabha. But according to some, this land is known as Bharat due to the reign of the son of Dushyanta. So far as we are concerned, this land's name, Bharatvarsh, was established from the reign of Bharat, the son of King Rishabha. Before him, the land was known as Ilavartavarsha, but just after the coronation of Bharat, the son of Rishabha, this land became famous as Bharatvarsh. But despite all this, Bharat, the son of Maharaj Dushyant, was not less important. He is the son of the famous beauty Shakuntala. Maharaj Dushyanta fell in love with Shakuntala in the forest, and Bharat was conceived. After that, Maharaj forgot his wife Shakuntala by the curse of Kanva Muni, and the child Bharat was brought up in the forest by his mother. Even in his childhood, he was so powerful that he challenged the lions and elephants in the forest and would fight with them as little children play with cats and dogs. Because of the boys becoming so strong, more than the so-called modern Tarzan, the rishis in the forest called him Sarva Damana, or one who is able to control everyone. A full description of Maharaj Bharat is given in the Mahabharata, Adi Parva. The Pandavas or the Kurus are sometimes addressed as Bharat due to being born in the dynasty of the famous Maharaj Bharat, the son of King Dushyanta. So, Omagyana Timadandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshun Unmilitam Gena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So in this section of the Bhagavatam, Maharaj Yudhisthira is hearing about his grandson, Maharaj Parikshit, Hare Krishna, who was saved by Lord Krishna in the womb of Uttara, who was the daughter-in-law of Arjuna and Subhadra. So Ashwatam, the evil son of Dronacharya, he released the Brahmastra to kill all the descendants of the Pandavas, the grandson of Arjuna. So right within the womb, Lord Krishna, he covered Maharaj Parikshit, the embryo, and protected him. Kutya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashiti. Declare it boldly, Arjuna, that my devotee will never be vanquished. So we know Mare Krishna Rakeke, Rake Krishna Mareke. Krishna wanted Parikshit Maharaj to survive so that he could, of course, be a participant in the entire recital of Srimad Bhagavatam Purana. Nirmana, this Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he emphasized the Srimad Bhagavatam Purana over all other Vedic scriptures. It is the essence of all the Vedas because it deals with the summum bonum, which is to say the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So this great devotee, Maharaj Parikshit, he's a great devotee and he'll exhibit all the qualities of a great king. Now that we're in Kali Yuga, Kalir dosha nide rajan astireko mahadgunan. It's full of a dosha nide. It's an ocean of miseries, an ocean of faults. The leaders in Kali Yuga, they are less than Sudras. They're actually fifth class, at best fifth class men. They support the slaughtering of animals, They reject the Brahminical culture, where the Brahmins are supposed to guide the politicians and leaders of society. So it's basically patatam tamasi yadaya. They're simply leading people into the darkness of ignorance. As the Ishopanishad said, Anda tamasa pravishanti yevedam upasate, that those who cultivate nescience or ignorance, they enter into the darkest regions of ignorance. And of course, you know, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita describes in the 14th chapter, he tells Arjuna that yata pralinas tamasa mudo jonishi jayate, that those who die in the mode of ignorance, they take birth in the family of animals. Mudho jonisu jayate. They take birth in the wombs of the animals. So this is the reaction, the karmic reaction of not following the guidance of the Vedic culture, Brahminical culture. So the great kings of yore, such as we know Maharshi Bharat, he's the son of Rishabhadev, who is an incarnation of God himself, who was a descendant of Swayambhuva Manu. We know that his grandson was Nimi, Maharaj Nimi, who had a son with Meru Devi. Her name is Meru Devi, and they had Maharaj Rishabhadev. And in the 5th canto, Maharaj Rishabhadev instructs his 100 sons. Nayam deho deha bhajan riloke kastan kaman arhate vidbhujam ye tapo divyam putrakayena sadvam shujet yashmat brahma sokyam twanantam. He's telling his sons, who were all great, great personalities. 81 of them were Brahmins, 9 of them, the Navayogendras, and 9 of them were Kshatriyas. So 100 sons he had. And they were all great devotees of the Lord. Of course, he seeded the Bharatvarsh, the entire area of, there were 7 Varshas, of which one is Bharatvarsh. But Maharaj Bharat, he ruled a very large area, and he was such a great king, such a great and pious king, that the area that he was ruling was named after him as Bharatvarsha. That's not just India, but that's an entire tract of land with various mountain ranges, which is described in the Vishnu Purana as well as the 5th canto. And it's a very small part of Jambudweep, which is the center of the Bhumandala planetary system, which is, again, the 7th planetary system within the 14 planetary systems of this universe. So these great kings, as Prabhupada said in one place in a lecture, he said that this Bharatvarsha, in the times of the Kauravas and the great kings, there was only one religion. That is religion of the Vedas. Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedya vedanta vid veda vid eva chaham. The Krishna says, I am the end conclusion of all the Vedas. I am within everyone's heart. So the goal of all the Vedas, of course, we know in the 1st canto it says Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Jnana, Vasudeva parantapa, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva para Yagya. So Vasudeva Krishna, the conclusion of all Vedic literature, is that Krishna, who's known as Vasudeva, is the goal of all activities, all tapasyas, all knowledge, all sacrifices, all practices of mystic yoga. All our activities have to be centered on Lord Krishna. So that is the conclusion, which is given in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna reveals himself. It's revealed by Sukadeva Goswami and his father Vedavyas. What is the summum bonum? That is the son of Maharaj Nanda. Although, of course, Krishna is full of all potencies. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate natasyamascha vyadikastra drishyate sarvasya sharvam vijahaiva shriyate svabhavaki jnana bala kriya cha. It's described that this son of Maharajananda is full of unlimited and inconceivable potencies, like he tells Arjuna, yad yad vibhutimat sattvam srimad urdhvicham evacha tata vivavagachatvam mamote jamsa sambhava. That all the great things you see in this universe are but a tiny spark of my splendor. So these great devotees of the Lord, everything is revealed within their hearts. So their whole purpose in human life is how to serve Krishna constantly, 24 hours a day. And Maharaj Parikshit, he becomes famous. He is a Mahabhagavat, a great devotee of the Lord, very rarely seen in this world. So this is a complete, in direct contrast to the modern leaders of society who are actually governed by demoniac qualities. Krishna describes in great detail in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita what are the qualities of a demon. And we see the qualities of the demons all over the world who are so-called leaders of society. There's one statement Prabhupada made, it's Rajasyu Janaka Dasyu, that the kings and leaders of Kali Yuga, they're simply like thieves. They're simply taxing people. They don't really protect people. They don't perform yajna. Therefore, rains will become more and more minimal. Mother Earth, she won't produce as abundantly as she will. The mountains, which used to produce many precious metals and diamonds and rubies and gold and so many things, that will become depleted. In other words, Mother Bhumi, the earth planet personified, she will gradually reduce the gifts of life. Yagya shishta shino shanto muchante salvi kalbishai. The gifts of life are supplied when the human beings become devotees of the Lord and perform yagya. So Maharaj Bharat here is like described, he's compared to Maharaj Shimi. Of course, we know that Indra and Agni Dev, they wanted to test how great is this King Shimi, and they took the form of an eagle and a pigeon, and they tested Shimi, who was willing to give all his flesh based on the scale that the pigeon was on in charity. And eventually they were so pleased that they manifested their true forms and blessed Shimi to go to the heavenly planets. However, the great devotees of the Lord, they're not even interested in going to the heavenly planets. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Priyojitaha Janiyati Ashu Vairagyam Gyanam Chaya Dahoitukam. Devotees of the Lord are not interested in anything that money can buy or anything like material opulence can supply. They're not interested in even going to the heavenly planets. Narayana Parasarve Nakutaschana Bibhyati Svarga Pavarga Narakeshu Apitulyarta Parshada. In the 6th canto is described the devotees of the Lord, Narayana Parayana, they have no desire. They don't care whether they're heavenly planets or here in middle planets or in the lower planetary system, hellish planets, lower planets. They can go anywhere because they simply want to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. And they're willing to give up everything for the Lord. So Shimi, he was willing to sacrifice his entire life to protect the citizens of the world, to protect even a tiny little pigeon. All living beings are aham bija pradapita sarva yonishu kuntiya murtaya sambhavantiya dasham brahma mahadyonir aham bija pradapita. All living beings are part and parcel and children of the Lord. And even in the 7th canto, there's a verse by the Avaduta who meets Prahlad Maharaj, and he says, Sarasrip Kaga Mukshikaha Yat Atmana Putravat Atmanat Putravat Parsham. It means that the snakes, the insects, the flies, the asses, the camels, all these creatures that we see, Atmavat Putravat, they should be seen by the householder as simply their children. And we shouldn't harm even the snake or the fly or the monkey. All these are described by this Avaduta. So that is the vision of a great devotee of the Lord. And we know that Parikshit Maharaj came upon a cow and a bull. Dharma, the bull, and the cow were being beaten by the personality of Kali. Krishna had left the planet, and immediately Kali came in. And his business, Kali's business, is to break the four principles of Dharma. Austerity, cleanliness, truthfulness, austerity, cleanliness, truthfulness, and mercy. These are the four legs of Dharma. So these are broken down by illicit sex, gambling, meat eating, and intoxication. So this is now spreading throughout the entire globe. And Maharaj Parikshit was ready to kill this black man, this Kali, personality of Kali, for spreading a dharma and beating the cow. Actually, the cow is very important, as we know. Krishna tells Arjuna, right? Krishna go raksha vanijam, vaishya karma svabhavajam. So the Kshatriya, he has to protect. Surya Teja Dritri Daksham Yudye Chapapalayanam. The real kings and leaders of society, they go out and they challenge demoniac principles, demoniac beings. They go out and they face the enemy. And as Arjuna was told by Krishna to kill all these kings on the battlefield, 630 million warriors were killed on the Battle of Kurukshetra 5,000 years ago. So that is the duty. Surya Teja Dvitiri Daksham Yudye Chapapalayanam Dharma Ishtana. They're Dhanam Ishvara Yagyascha Ishvara. They're controlling the entire kingdom. And they perform Yagya Dharma and Tapa. So Krishna says these three things should never be given up. So Maharaj Parikshit and the great kings, they perform the yagyas for protecting society. In Kali Yuga, we are meant to simply spread the Yuga Dharma. Yagyai Sankirtane Prayir Yajantihi Sumedasha. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has descended. Who is he? He is actually Lord Krishna in the mood of Radharani. He has descended here 500 years ago in this area. He's Lord Krishna himself. And he's come out of his mercy to deliver pure love of God, Krishna Prema and Mo Mahavananyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. And Lord, he has left us 8 verses. Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sharva Shaktis. So the yagya in this age, it is not so elaborate like in the previous ages. Aswamedha Yagya, Rajasuya Yagya. So many yagyas were performed. Prithu Maharaj performed 100 horse sacrifices. Maharaj Yudhisthira, he performed many, he performed the Rajasuya Yagya. These are great yagyas. However, in the age of Kali, simply by chanting these holy names under the guidance of Tat Tat Karma Pravartana, under the great acharyas, following the footsteps of the great acharyas, we are very fortunate that we are taking shelter under the lotus feet of the great acharyas. And so this chanting of the holy name of the Lord under the guidance of the bona fide and great acharyas will spread throughout this planet and will deliver these inhabitants of Kali Yuga, these sinful people, from all their sinful reactions. So that is the purpose of the leaders, is to enforce the performance of yajna. However, in this age, politicians and leaders, they actually persecute those who are preaching the real Dharma. Dharma bhado vidharmascha paradharma nachoditaha upadharma tupakando dambova shabdabich chala. They promote the 5 types of irreligion, religion which obstructs the real religion. So we go out to preach, and certain so-called priests and other mullahs and so on, they're even willing to kill the devotees, as we've seen recently. So this is Dharma bhado vidharmascha, vidharma, that they obstruct the real religion. And there are other religions even here in India, Bharatvarsha, which are paradharma nachoditaha, they're imitation religion. Like they say you can do whatever you want, eat whatever you want, yadamat tadapat. This is all false religion being promoted under the aegis, under the disguise of a real religion. So, as Prabhupada said, he doesn't know how this movement will spread. There's so many false religionists, false yogis, false gurus, so-called spreading Vedic culture, but they're all ku yogis. As Bhakti Siddhanta said, they're simply ku yogis and ku gyanis. Chala dharma means that religion, so-called religion, which is full of word jugglery. Just like the impersonalists. Like Lord Shiva said, I'll appear as a Brahmin in Kali Yuga and teach this impersonalism, this false philosophy that you're God. So by word jugglery, they come out with this idea that you're God. I am God, you're God, yadama tadapat, do whatever you want. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mitya, that the Jagan is false, the universe is false, and the only truth is the Brahman. But Krishna rejects this when he tells Arjuna, Klesho dikataraste sham avyakta sakta chetasam avyaktahi gatir dukam dehavadbir avapite. He tells Arjuna this worshipping of Brahman, this word jugglery philosophy, somehow you can become God by meditation. He says it's full of klesha, it's full of difficulties, and for the embodied soul it's a great struggle. And we know, Ayur Krichena Parampanam Tatapatanti Ado Nadrita Yushmadangraya, that they think they've attained this highest realization of Brahman and trying to enter into the effulgence of the Lord, but again and again they fall down into the material consciousness again and again, due to they have no taste for the lotus feet of the Lord. Like devotees of the Lord, they're always ready to glorify the Lord, remember the Lord, depend on the Lord, perfectly depending on the Lord. As Rupa Goswami says, under the 6 forms of surrender, one is to always see the Lord as one's master and protector and friend. One should always expect the mercy of the Lord. One should reject all things that are not conducive to practice of devotional service to the Lord. And one should accept only those things which are favorable in the practice of devotional service of the Lord. One should avoid the 10 offenses while chanting the holy name of the Lord, so that one can come to the perfectional stage of life of offenseless chanting. So the great examples are these great devotees, although Maharaj Pariksit, you may say he's a Kshatriya, like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He avoided the association of Prataparuja Maharaj because he was a king, and he had so much opulence and affluence. And he had many wives and so on, so he's quite involved in materialistic activities, or so-called. But we know that he was a great devotee of the Lord. Prapanchikatiya Buddha Hari Sambandhi Vashchano Mumukshavi Parityagi Falgu Varagam Kachate Anashaktasya Vishayan Yatarham Upayunjitaha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Varagyam Uchate. So in the Vaishnava philosophy, one can use everything in the service of the Lord, including immense wealth. Immense wealth, everything can be used in the service of the Lord, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written songs of Sharanagati, where he says, Manasa Deho Geho Yokichu Mora Arpun Tuyapada Nandikishore, that a house, property, everything is in relationship to the Lord. So, the great King Maharaj Parikshit, he rules for some time. Of course, we know that he's going to be cursed by the Brahmin, son of the Brahmin, of the ascetic, and he accepts the curse. He sees it as Krishna's mercy. Queen Kunti says, Vipadashantu tashashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yadshad apunar bhava darshanam. That I wish that these calamities could visit me again and again. The Pandavas underwent all kinds of calamities. They lost their kingdom, etc., etc. But they always depended on Krishna. Matchita sarva durgani mat prasada tarishasi. Krishna tells Arjuna, in all your activities, become conscious of me. Tasmat sarvashu kalashu mama nusmar yujicha. He tells Arjuna, while you're doing your activities, always remember me. And so, mat prasada tarishasi, I remove all the obstacles in your life. So although Maharaj Parikshit could have circumvented this curse, he's a very powerful devotee of the Lord, he understood that Krishna has some plan. So he's completely fearless, even in the face of death. He's completely fearless. Let this snake bird come and bite me. I don't mind. The devotee doesn't care where he is, like the great yogi blessed the devotee. You can live or die, it doesn't matter. Like that, the devotee doesn't care. He's always remembering the Lord. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described, my mind and heart are one, and they're always in Vrindavan. So now we have time for questions. 8:45, so we have a few 15 minutes for questions and reflections on this particular verse. So I'll open it up here for comments and questions. Jai Prabhu. You need a microphone? Anyone else? Prabhu, if you tell me your question, I can repeat it. You having a question? You're going to have to come up here and ask the question. I can't hear you at all. You can turn this fan off if you want.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
I was thinking that the more we advance in this world, according to what happened lately, to become a preacher, a good preacher, isn't it? Will it be more difficult because we are human and fear is something that is also part of our life? So, to become a strong preacher, does that mean the better preacher we become, the more threatened we are?
The more what?
Threatened.
Threatened.
Yes.
One time in America, there was a lot of propaganda against the Hare Krishna movement. There was the anti-cult movement. And there was huge propaganda in the media. Hare Krishnas are bad, Hare Krishnas are bad, they're a cult, and so on. And Prabhupada said that because of the powerful preaching of the Hare Krishna movement, they're paying attention and they're feeling some fear. And therefore, they're making this huge retaliation against the movement. He said that's a healthy symptom that our preaching is very, very successful. So yeah, the demoniac class of man, when the more Krishna consciousness is being established in the world, they'll become more enraged, like Hiranyakashipu, very enraged. He said, stop all sacrifices, kill all the cows, destroy the Brahminical culture. That's what he ordered his ministers to do. So they simply want to kill God. They simply want to stop God. And the powerful, what we call knowledge elites, the scientists and thinkers in society today, Mayapur Gyanis, they're simply trying to carve out an atheistic worldview and propagate it into the minds of the young generation that are coming up. So most of the scientists are actually very atheistic. There's even a huge organization in America called Origin of Life Organization. And they get hundreds of millions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to research how to describe, how to explain the cosmos in atheistic terms, try to explain what is consciousness, and demonstrate how life evolved from the combination of material elements. And they get, like Harvard, in 1985, Harvard University got a $100 million grant to simply try and carve out atheism, try and explain it conclusively that there is no God in existence. So it's a very great challenge to them that we are coming to them and establishing that God truly does exist. And the problem is that Rakshashim Asurim Chaiva Prakriti Mohinim Shritaha, Krishna condemns them that these materialistic activities are simply driving them into darker and darker miseries, into deeper and deeper suffering for billions of lifetimes. They're going to suffer if they don't get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is manifesting as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That's the manifestation of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. So yeah, we may have to sacrifice our lives to spread the message of the Lord. It's part of the deal. Yes, Prabhu. Nishringa.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your class. My question may sound a little silly, but we often get asked this question, and I would like to hear how you would answer it. Someone may ask, Krishna wants us to preach because he wants his message to be spread all over the world, because ultimately he wants to bring all the living entities back to his lotus feet. And he has so much power. Why does he not make it easy for the preachers to have as much impact as possible? Why does he allow the demons so much power? He is, after all, the source of the intelligence. The atheists, they come up with the arguments because he's giving them the intelligence. Why does he not switch it off so that when the devotees speak, they can just listen and just fall down at the lotus feet? Why does he make it so difficult for the preachers? Sometimes it's difficult to remain inspired when Krishna himself could stop all these problems. So how would you answer that question, Prabhu?
Well, we know that Krishna says, Dukkhalayam Shashvatam. The material world is like a forest full of envious beings, full of exploitive beings. It's the forest of material enjoyment. The material world, dukhalayama shashvatam. It is a place of misery. And Rupa Goswami says, pure devotional service is very rarely achieved. Devotional service is extremely difficult. It is not easy. I remember Prabhupada said, he looked at us, he said, devotional service is not an easy thing. So this is part of the test. Part of the test is that devotees have to be extremely determined, right? Madgita, how's it go? Madgita prana bodhayantas parasparam. Satitam kirtiyantat chantas cha dhridavrata, chantas mam dhridavrataha. The devotees engage with great determination. And tate nukampam shushamikshmano bunjani vatma kritam vipakam. That devotees, they undergo all kinds of trials and tribulations. This strengthens your devotional creeper. If you take care of your devotional creeper more and more and more by watering every day, watering Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, and avoiding offenses, protecting that creeper from the weeds that come up, avoiding the offenses, engaging with devotees in a favorable way. This is all part of our journey in our devotional service. And the more objections that the demons have, and the more the devotees try, this is very pleasing to Krishna. This is very pleasing to the Lord. And we know that the Lord, he protected Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was protected by the Lord in the 22 marketplaces. We know that Draupadi was protected by the Lord in the assembly house of the Kauravas. We know that Bhima, he was protected by the Lord when he was given poison by Duryodhana, the Kuras, you know. So the Lord is seeing, are you going to depend on him fully in all situations? Are you going to be fearless? Prabhupada said, don't remain a Kanishta Adhikari. He said, the Kanishta Adhikari are Prakrita Bhakta. Prakrita means materialistic. They simply see the Lord in the temple, and they really don't have much respect for devotees, and they have no compassion for the innocent fallen souls. They only see God in his murti form in the temple. But the Madhyamadikari, Prabhupada said, you must raise yourself to Madhyamadikari. Sochetato vimukatsa cetasa indriyartam. Prahlad Maharaj says, my only lamentation is that these conditions, these human beings, the human form of life is so rare, but they're simply engaged, maya sukhaya, in the so-called pleasure of illusion. Baram udvahato vimudha, they're bewildered by society, friendship, love, family, this, that, all these things are fallible soldiers. And so the devotee of the Lord is trying to deliver the fallen soul from this ocean of birth and death and put him on the train back home, back to Godhead. That is our only duty in life. And then Krishna will become pleased by us. The spiritual master has to be pleased. And the spiritual master, like all the great devotees of the Lord, they're full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo. Prahlad Maharaj, Patita Pavana. Paraduka Duki. He feels misery when he sees others. The others are suffering. Prabhupada came to Boston, and the first thing he said is to Krishna, you sent me here, and everyone's covered by the mode of passion and ignorance. What is the mode of ignorance? In the mode of passion, there's no happiness. Krishna clearly says it. Karmana sukritasyahu asadvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukam. The only fruit of your hard labor for sense gratification and material opulence is dukam, unhappiness. So we see many people in Hollywood or Bollywood, these people, and then they end up committing suicide. They become drug addicts because they have no happiness. There's no happiness and no satisfaction for those who are covered by the modes of passion and ignorance. So Prabhupada said, why have you brought me here, Krishna? Everyone's covered by the mode of passion and ignorance. They're covered by these qualities. However, there are always the innocent human beings who are searching after the truth. They want the truth. And that is our duty. Yajana yajana patana patana dhanam patigraha. These are the 6 activities of the Brahmin. The real Brahmin, he cultivates knowledge, patana and patana. He gives this knowledge to others. Very simple. Right? Gatasun agatatsun cha nanu sochati panditaha. That the one who knows the difference between the living body and the dead body, he is the real pandit. That is the first instruction that Arjuna got. So we know this. We know, because every day we follow sadhana, we know, aham brahmasmi, jivera swarapoy nityara Krishnadas. That's the nutshell conclusion. So we have to share it with others. We meet people even here, they come to visit. I say, oh, you must be a vegetarian. Oh no, I eat chicken, I love fish, I smoke cigarettes. I say, okay, you came all the way to see Srila Mayapur, to see the Lord. This is the holy Dham, Navadvip, Gupta Vrindavan. At least we have to help them to give up their anartas, anarta nivriti. Give up your anartas, because at the time of death, ahani ahani bhutani gachantiya yamalayam. Everyone's going to meet Lord Yamaraj down, a little further down this way, below this Bhumandala, below the Bharatvarsha. If you go down a little more, there's Lord Yamaraj's planet, where he's punishing. And Kapila Dev explains this clearly in the 3rd canto, how the living entity is dragged out of his body. He's surrounded by relatives and friends, and he's trying to say something, but his voice is all choked up, and he's trying to say something because he sees the Yamadutas, constables of Yamaraj, coming with ropes, and they grab his astral body, and they start dragging him. Within a few moments, he ends up in the Yamasadhana, in the hellish, 28 hellish planets, where he's punished for having intoxication, for being greedy, for not punishing or being hateful towards saintly people, for engaging in illicit activities, all these things, killing cows. Every hair on the cow, one birth in hell, in Maharorava, described there in the 5th canto. So when you see people, especially where I'm from, they all eat cows. Every hair on the cow, every time they have a hamburger, every time they have a nice steak. They have what is called Rib Festival in America, Canada, Australia, all these places, where they have a festival of cow killing. And for every hair on every cow they eat, there's one birth in Maharorava, hellish planet. So this is punishment. But they don't know. They don't know this. So our business, the family business, is to distribute this message of Veda Vyas and Sukadev Goswami. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. This is also distributing of the holy name of the Lord. So this is our duty, and we have to take risks. We have to risk our own lives, because Krishna, he protects us. We're under his protection. Even if they kill the body, the devotee will never be vanquished, he says. He will go back to Krishna. Janma karma chamedevam evam yo viti tatvadaha tatvadeham punar janmanaiti. Punar janmanaiti. He says you don't take another birth. If you know that I was born in Mathura, in the cell of Kamsa, 5,000 years ago, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I manifested my Vishnu form to Vasudeva and Devaki, and then I was moved to Vrindavan, where I lived in the house of Nanda Maharaj and Maya Yasoda, Janma Karma Chame Devyam. Evam yo veti tatvaraha, that I herded cows with cowherd boys and killed many demons like Putana and Trinavarta. This is the Lord. This is what he did. Of course, he also, Nanavatarama Karod Bhuvanesh, he has many avatars, but this is the sweetest of all the sweets, is Lord Krishna as a cowherd boy. In Vrindavan, here on this area of the entire universe, he appeared in this one universe, and he appears in all the universes once in a day of Lord Brahma, which is a very long time, 4,300,000,000 years. One day of Brahma, 1,000 Divya Yugas, he comes. But then he's so kind that he comes, even in Kali Yuga, in the mood of a devotee. Otherwise, everyone is going to be killed. Everyone would be killed. Cow killing is very sinful. Killing a human being is sinful. Cow killing is the same amount of sin as killing a child or a human being. And the only hope is Stenasurapo Mitra Druk Brahmani Guru Talpaga Sri Raja Pitri Gohanta. If you chant the holy name, this is a story of Ajamil. If you chant just one Narayan, then whether you're a thief, a killer of a Brahmin, you killed your own father, you contaminated the bed of your guru, you killed a king, Sri Raja, Pitrigo, Hanta, you killed a cow. Just by saying Narayan, you become freed from all these very heinous activities. So this holy name is extremely powerful, and we simply have to share it with others and share this knowledge. I have to stop here. It's 9:05. I apologize for being 5 minutes over. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.